YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at what we've got here. The InFusion 180 by Blade. Looks absolutely beautiful. Reminds you a lot of the 150S, doesn't it? Difference is direct drive and direct drive. No weird knob thing on the middle of the blades, which is cool. Still fly barless and still runs on smart batteries Gen 2 with the IC2 connectors. And we have this set up on the NX8. So it comes with the bind and fly, so we're really excited to share this with you. Stay tuned for the Unbox build and radio setup coming directly after this flight. We're doing it on 850 milliamp 3S. Initially, we did it on 450 milliamp 3S as well. But this is a 30C compared to a 50C, so we'll see how it fares. Obviously, we have telemetry, 4.19 to 4.2 on the voltages. All right, throttle holds off. We're gonna take off in normal mode, just letting it kind of wind vane a little bit. Okay, whoa. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, it gets off the ground just fine. No problems there. The wind is definitely interfering with us a little bit. We haven't crashed this one yet, so there's no excuses for it to be jumping around. But we do have some nice tall grass to help us. And if you stick around later in our second flight, chronologically for you guys would have been our first flight, you'll see there was some crazy person doing loops in an airplane over there in just a few minutes, which is pretty cool. So stay tuned for that. And oh, that was cool. Did you see that cottonwood? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go into Acro mode and just, we'll go ahead and get right into it here. We'll just, remember, this is the piloting skills now come into play. Okay, so I'm gonna point it into the wind. Wow, that thing is just rock solid when you snap the throttle. Look at this, really good. That's not even in the full Acro. Okay, full Acro. Man, that thing is really quick, guys. Now, I feel kind of bad because, you know, I'm not doing like TikToks and things. And there we go, into the normal mode, which has safe and auto leveling. And look how quick and easy it fixes your screw up as a pilot. That is why these helicopters are confidence inducing. They will teach you to fly without actually flying it for you. We just recently reviewed another competitive brand in FW 200. Camera crew, if you want to come up here, we'll be right side by side. Perfect. That way I know where you are. Just in case something goes horribly wrong, I can yank you out of the way and protect you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But anyway, we did the FW 200, and complaints that I had were that they're marketing to people that are real heli pilots, but anybody can literally fly it. Now this helicopter, the camera crew could fly it in safe, I believe. But the thing is, as soon as you get out of safe, you actually need to know what you're doing. And you certainly can't do that, right, camera crew?
I cannot.
Okay, because this is all just your wonderful host here, Brian Phillips, doing it. But that's the fun stuff that you get to do as a pilot. You have to learn to do it. And to me, it's just really fun to do loops. And I'm not even that good of a 3D helicopter pilot yet, but just 10 short years ago, you would not be able to hardly do this, okay? Guys, look at this, upside down, so cool. And then fly like an airplane. You just have to be prepared to swallow your pride and go back into normal mode, like I just did. Now, I didn't do that for the first time this video out of protection of the helicopter and my pride. That was just intentional. And by the way, look at the grass blowing. You guys see the grass, how much it's moving? It is definitely not calm. I would like to clip the grass. You think I'm good enough to do that?
No.
In normal. That is a long ways away. Camera crew, we are really testing your skills today. We're coming right to our feet here. That is pretty quick in normal mode.
It is.
Now, one thing I can definitely say about this heli is it's small, but it is not in any way any less capable than the 330S, which is super capable, and it's certainly not any less capable than the 230S or the 150S. It just happens to be a different body, nice, soft, and easy to control, or excuse me, nice, soft, and easy to get on and off cover. And with Safe and AS3X working together, this thing flies really good. Makes you look like a good pilot when you're really not, and I am not a good heli pilot. I might be an acceptable heli pilot, and I'm getting more and more acceptable every day. And to be honest, guys, I really enjoy the challenge, but I also enjoy it about to the time when I crash. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't need any more challenge. Let's just go back to working. Okay, so into the Acro 1, Acro 2. Okay, I want to try TikTok for once. You ready, camera crew? I'm going to get some height. Okay, just getting myself comfortable with the sticks here, guys. It looks like I'm on crack here. Normal and full throttle. There was a bug that landed literally on the lens of my glasses when I was going to do that. So I apologize, folks. That is an excuse. You've heard them from Brian Phillips here. Hear him first on Brian Phillips RC, in fact. Check the link in the video description below. Buy this thing for yourself. You'll help support us with small financial contributions from the companies we work with. Also, check out BrianPhillipsRC.com. We're going to be selling some things here and there that will help support us, just like all the links you follow, only even better. This is so cool. I love that I can fly it, but it's actually being flown by me. Guys, I trust this helicopter enough to walk next to it, but don't do this. It's dangerous. Those parts could fly off and hit your face. And I'm sure there's some really disgruntled Brian Phillips RC viewer that's like, oh, you'll get cut someday. Of course I will. Dude, everybody gets cut eventually. Don't get cut. Be careful. Okay, now I've covered my rear end, so please don't cut your fingers. Use throttle hold. Definitely set it up as per the manual. That would be a good idea. Look how good it is in ground effect, guys. Look at this. That is awesome. Camera crew's getting nervous. I don't blame her. Look at this. That's so good. See, the difference between the camera crew and me is that she has a metallic phone in front of her face and I don't.
That's true.
But guys, that looks gorgeous. Okay, out of that, we're in Acro now, full Acro. Okay, so that's like a modified TikTok where you don't actually tick or talk. We're gonna try it again. Okay, here we go. And normal, full throttle. Guys, little trick for you. Trick of the day, folks. Woo! If you get into your automatic leveling normal mode, don't get all the way out of your throttle, because you will get to a point where throttle will go to nothing and your tail will get out of control. That's what happened to me up there. Okay, so we're fully in control here. And I'm at 3.73, so why not try TikTok now? It makes perfect sense. Okay. That was definitely not a TikTok. And as you can see, Safe has come to the victory again for Brian Phillips RC in his lack of skill, mental fortitude, and capabilities in general. But all I can say, guys, is I'm getting better every day, a little bit better, and my batteries are getting low, I can tell, so I'm gonna land it right now before the thing auto gyros to the earth. I feel like it's getting low. It could be in my head, could just be that I'm puffing my pack, I hope not. Okay, so throttle holds on. All right, so it says we're not dead. See this? 3.77. It says we're good. So I would say we're not in terrible shape here. So I'm gonna throttle cut out. I'm gonna get it into normal mode. I'm in normal mode. Throttle holds off. I had accidentally put it into Acro. Just kind of keeping it from tipping. All right, let's fly back over the bowl. Okay, into Acro 1. There's Acro 2. Tick tock. That's why I love Safe, guys. If that was any other helicopter, I would have crashed just then for your very eyes. I know you guys would have loved it. That's sort of a TikTok. It's like TikTok on the way to crash. Hardly TikTok. Into Acro. Acro 1. normal mode. Oh gosh, look at that red dot over there, folks.
The red is really great.
It is awesome for visibility, folks. I mean, really, really. And we have a helicopter and we have a cat. Who wins that battle? The cat, obviously. That's why I am literally flying away from the cat as we speak. I'm gonna point that tail toward me because I'm not a very good helicopter pilot, and I'm gonna bring the tail back to me. The cat has lost interest in whatever that annoying thing is. So we're gonna land it here at our feet. Guys, I am loving this on the 850. It's still 3.7 volts. Smart battery is still balancing. So I feel like we should go a little longer just to see what we can get out of it. Okay, so into Acro just to speed it up quicker. Back to normal. Throttle's up. Out of throttle hold, obviously. Camera crew, if you can come back to where you were, that'd be great so you're not in the grass. Thank you. Okay, here we go. We're gonna try it again. We're gonna try and probably fail, but we're gonna try anyway because that's what we do here on Brian Phillips RC. We try new things and we make it work eventually. Dang it. Holy save my butt. Yeah, upside down, full speed. Okay, let's just do some scale flying for a minute. Oh, it's so cool, guys. Love flying this thing around scale. I've only done it for about 30 seconds, but it's enough to know that I'm gonna love it. This thing flies great like a big helicopter. Interestingly enough, I can actually see it a little bit better than some other bigger helicopters we've flown in the past. I don't know if it's because of the high visibility or because of the sun. I don't know, could just be from a little bit better skill on my part as a pilot. I can tell you one thing about helicopters is that just like with airplanes, the more you fly them, the more comfortable you get, but also the more you fly them, the more exposed you are to crashing. So don't beat yourself up if you crash. You may need to buy some replacement parts. Everybody's always preaching, replace the parts, don't try to straighten them like that cheapskate Brian Phillips from Brian Phillips RC on YouTube or BrianPhillipsRC.com or from Patreon or PayPal. Just check the links in the video description below and you'll know where you're complaining about my terrible piloting skills. But if you guys are even worse than I am, which I find that hard to believe, just keep at it, guys. Flying helicopters is actually pretty hard in my opinion. It's harder than flying airplanes. It's definitely harder than flying drones. And when I say drones, I mean drones with flight stabilizers and flight controllers like most of them have. But what I can definitely tell you is it's one of the more rewarding flight experiences. Similar to, but not the same as airplanes. I feel like airplanes are still the most immersive radio controlled experience. And I love being able to bring them to you here on YouTube. It's definitely one of the hallmarks of my adult life, which is really cool. And of course, I've had a lot of cool things happen in my life, and this is definitely one of them. So guys, thanks for being part of this channel. We love having you here with us, and we have not quite run it out of juice. We're at 3.61. Sorry, when I looked down, I also hit the ground. Weird. I'm gonna bring this forward just a little bit and then put it down right into the wind vane. Throttle cuts on, and as you can see, we're at 3.65 volts. Feels like this battery is gonna give and give and give some more. Our timer with 1 out off is at 6 minutes 52 past our 5 minutes. So that means we've had almost 12 minutes of flight time.
Yeah.
12 minutes of flight time trying to do TikToks is pretty good in my opinion. Now, let's compare this to a recently reviewed FW200. We normally don't do that on new release products, but we're gonna do it anyway. The reason I'm gonna do it is because people are gonna ask this, and it's so recent. The FW200, anybody can fly upside down. But let me remind you, you're not flying, it's flying. This has safe. Safe flies, not you. But I am out of safe a lot when I'm flying these helicopters. On that helicopter, I'm hardly out of the agility or stability or whatever mode they call it. I'm basically a spectator that's giving encouragement to come home when I'm done flying. Whereas with this, that's a helicopter. Let's take off again. I can't handle it, I'm taking off, okay? Normal mode here. Almost got my first crash there. Okay, here we go. So what I'm trying to say is even in takeoff, you have to fly the thing. Now, why is that a good thing? I don't know, it's really kind of not a good thing. But the reality is, when you're learning to fly a helicopter, you got to remember, I tried flying helicopters before I even did YouTube, and I sucked at it. I had a CP1, a Blade CP1. It was terrible. No gyro, no tail gyro, no nothing. And you know what? I got nothing out of that thing other than a bunch of heartache. Never got the thing flying. Sure, I could have learned to fly. It would have been easier than flying a gasser from 15 years prior with absolutely worse characteristics. But what I can definitely tell you is that nowadays you can learn to fly a helicopter with the aid of SAFE. Now, you can also get a helicopter that will fly itself, and that's the trade-off. Do you want to fly or do you want to watch it fly? Yeah. That's not to take anything away from the full Acro mode on the FW200, but let's get real, guys. It's expensive. It's a little bit bigger than this. Definitely not an incompatibility. Similar size batteries that they flew on. Definitely got a longer flight time on this one, which is ironic. I didn't expect that. And I can definitely tell you one thing. If you learn to fly this, you'll be able to move on to other helicopters. If you think you're learning to fly on the FW200, you are going to be very disappointed when you get a $1,000 helicopter and crash into the ground. And you have 1 million pieces in your front yard, and you walk in and your wife is like, "What did you just do?" Yeah. That was $1,000 and you just crash it.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I'm saying this is because I know it's happened to some of you guys watching this on the other side of the camera here. And I want you to know that anybody that's in RC long enough will have one of those terrible feelings when you're walking in with the pieces, with your tail between your legs, and you're like trying to have to explain it to your wife or your husband or whoever it is that isn't flying in your relationship. And it's a really bad feeling as a pilot, and it's a really bad feeling as a person that helped pay for it through their hard-fought efforts at work. And you know, you walk in and you got this broken thing. So what can I tell you? How many times out there did I save a completely going into the ground at 100 miles an hour with one flip of switch? That's why I lean back to SAFE every time, because SAFE lets you fly, but it doesn't fly it for you. It's kind of hard to explain. You'll have to do it.
I think you explained it exactly right. If you want to learn to fly a helicopter and progress, you need this helicopter.
Or something like
Or something similar to
yeah.
it. If you want a toy that you can go out with your kids,
which is
and take
totally
off and
cool. Totally cool.
Then that's what you're looking for.
And it is legit cool, guys. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I'm just saying there is a distinct difference.
Yep.
One is going to build a skill that you can build on. One is going to build you up, and you're going to think you got it.
Yeah.
So we want to go into great detail there, and we don't want to bemoan the topic too much, but it is a thing that's in the hobby world right now.
Well, and it's going to come up. People are going to ask. So.
And by the way, I love this heli. It is very good. Do I love it as much as the 330S? Pretty much. It flies exactly the same. Why does that matter to me as a pilot? Because as I progress into my pilotum of radio controlledness, I want to get bigger and bigger helicopters. Ironically enough, I get smaller and smaller, but these things are just as capable. So as I get closer and closer to executing a flawless TikTok, which is supposed to look a little something like this, or this, depending on how skilled you are, mine kind of looked like I was flipping over and about to crash. Only because that was 100% true, other than this button right here. Normal mode, normal mode, normal mode. Also, couple thoughts. If you're a pincer grip flyer, you may find that it's easier to get to your switches. Switch B for me is my flaps in an airplane. Switch B for me on a helicopter is my mode. I don't deviate from the recommendation of switch B. Some of you guys may be used to putting things like this on switch D. Think about that when you set up your helicopter so that it meets your demands for where you can get to your switch in time. If you can't get to your switch, instead of setting up 3 modes, set up 2 modes and use switch G. It's going to take you a little bit of effort, but the reality is, if that's what it takes to keep you off the ground from going 20 miles an hour downhill with everything spinning, because that's pretty much what I was doing. I was probably going 20 miles an hour powered into the ground when I flipped out of Acro agility, whatever the top mode is. Okay, I can't remember all these modes. We review too much stuff. But I can tell you this. When I put it in a safe, okay, I'm gonna hold this in a safe spot. When I put it in a safe, I know that thing is gonna go whoop. And if it doesn't, then I'm probably gonna be saying bye-bye. And yes, I've done that too. So there have been times when I've gotten this thing into, not this one, I think I did it with the 230S. I got it so upset that when I switched, it didn't have time to come out of it and it hit the ground. I've done that with the FW200, by the way. I've done that with the 330. Have I done it? I think the 330 I've crashed, but it wasn't so much like flipping it slowly, okay?
Yeah.
So just a lot of things to consider when you're a new heli pilot. You don't have to be a new heli pilot, by the way, to enjoy this beautiful thing. It is amazing. I really enjoy it. There are tons of better heli pilots out there on the World Wide Web, but you get to see Brian Phillips here on Brian Phillips RC, strangely enough. And hopefully you'll enjoy the flight and you'll be able to kind of put into perspective how you'll be able to fly your InFusion 180 when you order it from the links in the video description below. Guys, don't forget to click the bell for notifications. Subscribe if you haven't already. You want to know when stuff's coming out because there's tons of new stuff coming all the time. Whenever we get a new big release, we try to run them for a couple of days, but really there's new stuff a couple times to 3 times a week right now. And we want you guys to be able to see what's going out there. Who knows, maybe you got $500 burning a hole in your pocket and you want to make a decision for X and we bring out Y and you're like, I really wanted Y, but I got X first. Okay, fine. There's always the next time you get $500. But in the meantime, we want to help you guys make the best decision with your RC budget that you possibly can. And part of the way we do that is we cut through the BS and show you whether or not the thing actually works without necessarily beating up the competitive brand, even though we sort of showed why the FW200 is inferior to this today. If I was flying the FW200, you guys would get it. It's got its strengths, it's got its weaknesses. Same thing here. Same thing with everything we review. We don't want to be, you know, so brand specific that we say this one's better or that one's better. This one's better for a reason. That one's better for a reason. We try to bring that to you in an exhaustive way, and that's why we have such long videos. So hopefully you guys enjoy the long videos because evidently nobody else, YouTube or like all the other spectrum of things that you concern yourselves with as a YouTuber, none of those things are in support of it, but we want you guys to get the best bang for your buck here on Brian Phillips RC. So speaking of, stay tuned. Next up, we're gonna unbox, build, and radio set this unit so you guys can follow along and you won't even have to open that pesky manual and follow page 4 for all of the setup that you need, with the exception of binding, because you have to put a bind plug in. Yep. So guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate your loyalty here. World's best audience on YouTube, right here on Brian Phillips RC. Check out www.brianphillipsrc.com. The camera crew's been working like crazy trying to get that website up and running. It is a work in progress, so use a little bit of grace. Megan's working hard to get it up to speed, and we have literally thousands and thousands of points that she needs to get on there, so she's working feverishly to do that. And the best way you can support us, as we've always said, is to buy these beautiful aircraft, helicopters, weed whackers, whatever it is we're reviewing, from the links in the video description below. You'll help us build clout with the people that work to support us here on Brian Phillips RC. But if you just refuse to buy this particular plane or that, and you want to still support us in another way, we have Patreon and PayPal down there as well. And the Brian Phillips RC website will also help direct you to all those different venues. So thanks for being with us, and thanks for watching. YouTube's Brian Phillips. We have a box. We're gonna open it up today. What do we have here? I'm not sure. It feels light, whatever it is. So hopefully it's not like something we didn't order.
Just a box.
We've had that happen a few times. Oh yeah, baby, look at that. It's the InFusion 180. That looks so cool. High performance 3D heli for intermediate pilots. This has smart technology inside. So that's pretty sweet. What does this thing fly on? This flies on I think it's a 350 milliamp hour. This is the bind and fly, right? This is a bind and fly. So all we should have to do is pop in a battery and bind it up and set up the transmitter, which is gonna be super exciting. I can't wait to do it. Let's just double check there's nothing good inside this box. There is nothing else inside the box right here. Okay, so that's good. And we will go ahead and cut this open right now. What do we have here? I'm just seriously, this has stability mode and agility mode. This has auto leveling, I believe, as well, as part of safe, but we're gonna find out how well that works. All right. This should be a pretty easy unbox because helis are quick. All right, so we have a bag with a little, looks like a bind plug, a couple of screwdrivers, a flat and a Phillips, and a couple of Allen drives, and the information packets. Nice, very good, look at that. Oh, that motor's so thin, so weird. Okay, so I'm not sure if I wanna try to peel that tape off. That's gonna be like terrible to have to peel off. Is there anything else in here? There's nothing else in there. Okay, so this will be easy to package back up. So I'm excited to see it. Love the way it looks. Looks really nice. I'm still waiting for a scale helicopter from Horizon. They used to have an Apache, which is right there by that YouTube award right there. Oh yeah, that thing was sweet. Of course, it's long since been discontinued. Horizon, if you're listening, maybe you could undiscontinue that one.
Undiscontinue?
Undiscontinue? Is that a thing?
I don't think so.
I would be very happy if they did that because that was a sweet helicopter. It had safe actually, and but safe back then just did not work as good on the helicopters. It still worked, but maybe I didn't work as good.
Well, I was gonna say that was a long time ago in terms of like your flying skill level and stuff.
Ooh, so pretty. Look at this beautiful thing. It's small, but it's not like dinky. Brushless motors on both sides. That's 1104 5500 kV. And this one is printed on this side. It's a 4004 650 kV. So this is as tall as that. That's so weird. Carbon fiber all over the place. Landing gear plastic. Flybarless, of course, which is what we've come to expect on most of these. All spectrum electronics, it looks like, which is sweet. Okay, so that's ready to rock and roll. And we're gonna literally just jump straight into radio setup as soon as we get this thing closed. Helicopters are nice because you don't have a lot of time setting them up, but after you crash them, you do. So maybe avoid the crashing part. So camera crew and I are gonna open up the manual and see what it has to say about batteries right now. And before we do that, let's go ahead and look in here. I can't wait. Okay, so I wanna pop this off. A little grommet there. Okay. Kind of squeaky. Okay, we've got the electronic speed control right here, which is an outside of the flight controller, which is right here. AR6251 MHXA InFusion 180 flight controller. So it must be a bind plug. Really small servos, goodness gracious. They give us the bent push rods. That's kind of weird. I wonder if that's how we're supposed to trim it mechanically. But then ball joints, very strange. Strange combo. H2080 Nanolite. Those must be about 3.5 gram servos. Big piece of foam, double-sided tape to hold the receiver down, and then a Velcro strap to hold the battery. And it's got the customary IC2, which incidentally, if you guys were already aware, the IC2 is not compatible with the XT30s, but they are compatible. XT60s are compatible with IC3s and XT90s are compatible with IC5s. So you can actually plug those in together. All right, so it looks like one of our little batteries is still working. These are 450 milliamp hours. I think this is the one they need. So we're charging those. I'm actually going pretty quick on them. 2 amps. Feel how warm it is. No, right here. You feel it? It's pretty warm. I mean, it's not hot, but it's warm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't done a lot of fast charging on these. These ones are not as hot. I wonder if we could fit this in there. This will at least get us started. It's 3S pack. Okay, so let's cut off this little warning label because of course that's gonna get in the way. And the camera crew is gonna break into the manual real quick. I'm gonna get my NX8 so we can set up the bind and fly.
Battery, 600 milliamp, 3S.
Really? That's weird. That's an in-between size. I don't even have a 600 milliamp hour. That's very strange. So I guess if the 850 fits, then I'll use it. Otherwise, I'm gonna be stuck using the next one down. All right, so we didn't have a 600 milliamp hour, so we've got the 850 and we got the 450 3S, okay? Now, I wanna show you one thing too. When you're buying these things, make sure you get an adapter so you can plug it into your charger, because this is an IC3 to an IC2 battery adapter, okay? So like this, and then that plugs into your charger, or in my case, like right now, if you want to plug it into your smart, your XBC 100 battery checker, okay? So you'd plug it in there and then you would see that one of the cells is like way out of balance, evidently. That's not good. So then you would take and unplug that and you would plug in your other one. We may have to plug that back into the main charger and see if we can balance out. Okay, so this one's the 850. Okay, so that one's balanced out nicely. I don't know what the heck is going on with this one. Maybe that's why it's warm, because it's trying to balance it. It's like a brand new battery, so I'm not sure what to think. But this is the adapter. Let's talk about that for a minute. So I'm gonna start a charger just so you can see what it looks like. This one's actually, here, we'll highlight channel 2. So this one is, you can see the cell count and it goes through the smart charger adapter, like what I was just showing. And then it goes to the actual cell, or to the battery. Okay, so we're gonna plug this in. If you ever get a battery that's dead, sometimes you gotta start them to get them charging. And we've run into that on just a rare occasion. Okay, so we'll go down there. That cell's out of balance. So let's hop back over to this one at least. We can see how this one does, and then we'll come back and see if that one will balance out for us. But sometimes if they sit for a long time, they don't get used, then they'll fall out of balance, which is not good. And with the smart packs, you don't even have a balance lead. All right, so getting back to the point, we have a helicopter here and we're gonna fly it. So I'm curious if the 850 will fit. Well, it sure looks like it will. Just be careful it doesn't run into the motor, because look at that. There's a little stop that stops that from going back. You see that little stop there? Those little triangles. Maybe you can see from this side. See what I'm talking about? Right above the motor. There's just an ever so small gap. I kind of like the way that fits. I hope it works, because I'd just as soon use the bigger battery anyway.
Is the canopy gonna go on?
That's a good question. I guess we should test that. So I'll just kind of loop those around as though they were plugged in. I like that that's nice and flexible. Okay, so we just have to line up the grommets. Ooh, it fits. Fits fine.
Then it goes, right?
Yeah, I don't really see a big issue with that. There is technically a center of gravity on a helicopter still. And it's got to do with the, see how it leans forward a little bit? That could cause a bit of a problem, I wonder. Well, I guess we can always wait and see.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna pull the canopy back off. I think 450s is what they prefer we use right away. But for now, let's see how to set up the radio. So open the manual. If you're not sure how to do this, just follow along. We'll try our best to get you up to speed. The InFusion 180. There's a bind and fly basic little QR code if you decide to scan that. And then basically it's got a table of contents here, what we want to look for. Okay, so we're just kind of looking through the manual here to see where the setup is. Still haven't found it. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't found any setup. That's very weird. Is that a 50C pack? That's a 30C pack. This is a 50C pack. That could be a bit of an issue because they do call out a 50C Gen 2. 600 milliamp hour. Okay, well, I guess in that case, I probably should be on the safe side and go with this. So that makes me wonder what all I need to do to set this up. Let's go ahead and at least get the battery in there. Maybe it's super simple. As you know, here on Brian Phillips RC, we're always showing you how to set stuff up. But every once in a while, we got a head scratcher, and this might be one of them. Okay, so I've got that pushed all the way back. Make sure I'm not hitting the motor. All right, so let's double check. Maybe I just, oh, it's right there. I missed it, guys. It's right here, page 4. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to turn on the transmitter. Okay, so it's gonna bring up a plane. I'm gonna click, scroll all the way down, system setup, disconnect RF, model select. Add new model. Okay, I don't want to add an Acro, I want to make a Heli. And let's just look at this little setup here. Yep, Heli, create. It takes a second for this to happen, by the way, that's normal. Then the swash type we want is normal. Okay, so model select we just did, model type we just did. It's the helicopter. If you change that, it'll reset everything. Model name. Okay, so we'll scroll in. It's not Heli. It's going to be the InFusion 180. So we'll scroll that in and come right back. All right, so we have the InFusion 180 Heli as the name. Swash type is normal. And then the flight mode setup is going to be on switch B, which it looks like that's already by default. And then the hold needs to be switch H. Okay, so that's hold, that's normal. Hold, normal, okay? So we got that set up. Then channel assign. Looks like we need gear to be F mode. So gear needs to be, you have to scroll over to F mode, I believe. Function. Oh, there it is, F mode. Okay, flight mode. And then frame rate, which is under,
Past it.
sorry guys, frame rate. So we'll put that to 11. It's hybrid. I don't know why it never just lets you do 11. Okay, we'll walk out of that, and then it looks like we're looking for some dual rates in Expo here. So we'll jump out of there. We'll click and go to, I wonder if throttle cut. See, throttle cut's technically already set up. That's in hold. So I don't have to mess with that, but we will go to dual rates in Expo. Now this is, normally I set this on airplanes to a little my Brian Phillips way, but in this case it's gonna be the manual's way because Helis always start from scratch. Okay, so Expo's 25%. Okay, then it's supposed to be 100, 100, and then 25%. Now you guys may like a little bit more or a little bit less. But for me, I'm just gonna start as per the manual, and then we can make adjustments after we fly it. And that's true for all 3 of the control axes. Okay, so I'm gonna set that to F. Go 25. Oops, 25, and then also 25. And then we'll drop this rate down to 75. Okay. Then we'll go up to rudder and we'll set it to the same. And you're like, but Brian, there's no rudder on a helicopter. That's because they treat the primary control surfaces the same in a helicopter, especially a radio controlled one. Okay, so 75, there we go. All right, so done with those three. Throttle cut's already set through throttle hold. Ooh, okay, so throttle curve and pitch curve we gotta set. All right, so with the switch in N, see how it's got this switch here? That's B. So on normal mode, we want 0, then 65, okay, then 65, then 65, and then 65. That means that the throttle is going to be expressed as 65 pretty much as soon as you're taking off, and then it's not going to really change. Then what you'll change is pitch. Within the normal mode, it's going to be 80, 80, or excuse me, it's the pitch curve is going to be 30, 40, 50, 75, 100. So 0.1, when technically 0.1 is 0, but they do mean 0.1. Okay, so that's going to be 30. Then it's going to be 40. So it's going to be progressively increasing. Oh, 50 was already right. 75 and then 100, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go back up here. We'll switch to this. Oh, crap. It doesn't appear to have actually saved any of that, did it? Do you see that? Oh, it's because I've highlighted that. Now, when I highlight this, you're working that one, okay?
Oh,
Does that make, regardless of what condition you're actually in. Okay, so that's a little bit of a break from the rest of the radio setup that we've experienced in the NX8, just so you guys know. So 0, 25, 50, 70, okay, so that looks normal. That's the way it's supposed to be by default. And then 2 is the same thing. And then for hold, it's 25 for the pitch curve, then 37, so we have a linear progression, and then we go to 50, then we go to 75, then we go to 100. Okay, so cool. So depending on where you are, oh crap, did it not change that? I didn't click evidently. I don't know if you guys noticed what happened. It didn't actually save my change. So I want to go back and do that again, I guess. 25.
No, you're on 2.
No, 2. It didn't actually change it though. It changed it, but then I moved the switch and it went away. Whoops, 37.
No.
What?
Hold.
Oh, that was hold. I'm sorry, guys.
The
camera crew caught it. Camera crew caught it. My bad. That's supposed to be 25, right?
Yeah.
That's very good. It is confusing because, like, for hold, that's the settings for hold.
Yep.
Then for 2, that's the settings for 2. For 1, they happen to be the same. And then for normal, it's like one's idle up, and then hold, and then normal, okay? So we do have that set. Let's go back to throttle curve. We never actually set the other ones. So it was 0, 65 through the range. Then for this idle up, it looks like we're gonna go to 80 at 0. That's why throttle hold is so critical on a heli, because it's at 80%, you know, throttle. Okay. So it's gonna be stunt 1, meaning you're gonna spin at 80%. Okay, and then we're gonna drop this down to 80 as well. So you pretty much, no matter where you are, it's gonna be fixed at a fixed output. That doesn't mean it's not gonna get bogged down when you do a big maneuver, okay? Okay, so then on number 2, on stunt 2, we want it to be 100 all the way through the range. Jeez, that's crazy. That's gonna be like crazy, crazy. Okay. And then for hold, 0. Definitely 0. Cool. All right, so we have the pitch and throttle curve set. Now we need mixing for P. For this is the, that is gonna be for us our panic button. Okay, so this is normal. And then it's gonna be channel I. Or switch I. Is gonna be equivalent to gear. The rate is gonna be 0 and minus 120. Minus 125 rather. And then the offset will be 100. So I'm gonna show you what happens. You can see it down here. When I press the button, it moves gear.
Start 1, start 2, normal mode.
So no matter what condition I'm in, it goes all the way up to the top of that one. Okay. So that's taken care of and it's on. Then we have a countdown timer of 5 minutes. So we can try that. Where is timer? There it is. And it's throttle out is 25% and it's inhibited. So, okay, it's good that they told us that since it's inhibited. And then preference issues come in. I want 10 seconds, I just want a countdown. And then I want tone and vibrate at expiration and then a tone every minute thereafter. Now we should have smart ESC and smart battery and telemetry, so we should be able to just scroll over and watch what our voltage is. Throttle hold is on.
Value 50.
Okay, so I'm ready to bind. So I'm gonna go to bind, I'm gonna make sure I'm in normal mode. Okay, it's ready to bind. Okay, so we're just gonna move things out of the way to keep things as safe as possible. There's always a risk something could go wrong, so do the best you can to protect yourself at this point. So I plugged it in for the first time and I'm gonna go to bind and hit bind.
Bind failed.
Okay, it's bind failed. Now, there's 2 reasons why that would happen. That warning is backward. We've had that every single time we've done a helicopter. Okay, we're gonna disconnect that. We're gonna fix that hold alarm. Okay, so do they tell us how to do that? They do not. So what we have to do is we have to go into, is that under telemetry? System setup. Okay, warnings. There's a warnings. Here we go. You want a warning if it's not on, okay? Okay, so in normal mode, watch this. I'm gonna turn it back on. Can't believe they haven't fixed that yet. Okay, sticks down. Watch what happens. Throttle cuts, throttle holds off. That's the warning you need. No longer a warning, okay? So now I'm gonna turn this off. I'll demonstrate. Throttle holds on this time, but throttle sticks up. Should still give a high throttle, but not hold.
Position, yeah.
Okay? All right, so I guess in this case, we'll do it the easy way. We're gonna shut off the transmitter. We're gonna open the bag, get the bind switch or bind plug. Or is there a bind switch on this one? On the last one, there was a little bind switch that you could press, and I don't see one on this one, so you have to use the bind plug. The other thing is they have a binding instruction somewhere on here, I'm sure. But I'm just gonna use my intuition and previous experience to come up with a pretty simple answer to my own question, which is, do you have to bind it with a bind plug? And the answer would be obviously, because it says program binding. Okay. So now if you're not sure which way to put this, pay attention to where the ribs are. And you can see there's a slide to receive that. Okay. So now I'm gonna turn this, and this is where we're gonna be somewhat vulnerable for just a second, so we're just gonna go ahead and plug it in. Shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so now I'm gonna press and hold the bind button while powering up. Binding. Okay, all right. So now we wait, we make sure nothing is weird. Okay, now while the throttle holds on, we give it throttle. Everything seems to be working. Now we should be able to come in here and pull the bind switch or bind plug out. So now at this point, we're ready to test it. Okay, so remember this is a 450 milliamp hour battery. So it is a little bit different size. And do we need to set up safe? No, that's all part of normal, isn't it? Let's go into forward programming and check.
Okay.
So that's the next thing we need to do. So forward programming is going to be accessible just like on an airplane, I believe. So we're going to scroll down to forward programming. And here's safe. Where do I want safe on? Stability. Off. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it off. But I don't know how to do that. On. Okay. Panic. Okay. Attitude trim. Okay. So I don't know if it's like always on. Is it under system setup or setup? Oh, here we go. Okay. Ooh, we can set up a gain channel. I wonder if it's already consumed by something. Well, that's pretty sweet if we can do that. And then output channel, not sure. Okay, I don't want to mess with any of this stuff because I'm not sure what all it does. Okay. So I'm not sure how to actually make that assignment, but they did have in the book, they had something in here about calibrating the servo adjustment mode. And then this one's calibration procedure, trim flight, etc. Okay, so let's lay it on the ground and see what we can get out of it. We'll see if it's gonna be too scary to actually fly it in here or not. So we'll just pick it up carefully, make sure we've already tested the throttle hold and we know that it's working. So we'll just go ahead and let it down here. Okay, now this is gonna start spinning. If all heck breaks loose, then okay, this should go to start spinning, and it does. Okay, so normal mode's gonna get it up to 60%. Ooh, sounds really good. Okay, just give it a little bit of throttle to get over the 25% or so. Letting it come up to speed. Oh yeah, that's definitely auto leveling. A little bit of trimming needed, but oh yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. Rock solid, in fact. Not so rock solid that it's boring, but rock solid. See if we can put it on the counter here safely. We'll just take back off. Oh yeah, that's awesome. I'm not scared to fly that one in here. It seems like it's pretty well where I want it. And then I don't want to switch out a gear channel, but I'm curious if I can actually trim it all with the trim buttons. Because I know there's like a trim flight. See how it's wanting to walk backward a little bit? There's just this like sweet spot right here. I'm either going up or I'm going down. See what I'm talking about? And I'd like it to be somewhat less in the middle there, you know? But otherwise the thing is just rock solid. That's so cool. Pretty big helicopter for inside. So the other thing too is this is direct drive. So we have two direct drive motors running both the main rotor and the tail rotor, which is pretty sweet. As you can see next to the Corsair, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And the thing is just rock solid in the air. The stabilizer works great, and I'm just gonna go up here so you guys can get a shot of the fan moving. There is definitely some air current going through this room. I'm having no problems, just real small stick inputs. Okay, so let's go ahead and land it, and we'll see how it does in the wind. I could totally fly it outside through the door, but I'm not gonna. Okay, so throttle holds back on. We got about 2.5 minutes left. So we'll reset and come right back. Okay, so we're gonna keep flying, guys. We've got about 2 minutes and 29 left on the timer, but I switched my screen over to the telemetry. So this is on the 450 milliamp hour. We're showing about 65, 70% on power left and 229. That's not a 1 out, okay? All right, so here we go. Just taking back off in normal mode in safe, about 50% throttle input, kind of letting it wind vane there. There we go, so no problems. Just to give you an idea of how much control input I'm having to give it to keep it level. It's not much. Feels really solid. I'm having no apprehension about it, although I could use a little bit more power with the wind. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the stump mode 1 and see if automatically the auto leveling goes away. So I'm gonna bring it out here. Yep, it does shut off the auto leveling. Okay, so I'm gonna come back into normal mode. And just to give you an idea, very easy to fly and definitely safe is giving me lots of help. Looks really beautiful. That tail is kind of, I don't know if it's struggling to keep up so much as I think it's just kind of overcorrecting a little bit. And it is pretty windy out here. Real happy with the performance so far. I feel totally comfortable right now. I'm gonna switch my gear condition. Whoa, that guy's smoking. Do you see that? That's so cool. I'm gonna fly over here so that people can watch. There's somebody dropping smoke and doing loops. Oh, that is so cool. What are the chances? I heard somebody. I was just about to say we need to check
like
for manned aircraft.
Doing loops and stuff.
Okie dokie. Well, I didn't think we were gonna get some free aerobatics out here. So in that case, we will keep an eye on that in the background. We don't want you guys to miss the real air show. And at this point, we are gonna scroll over to our telemetry, and we have about 25% throttle left. So let's go into the Acro mode, and let's see how it does. Feeling pretty good in Acro with the wind. Okay, I'm gonna do a loop here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, feels really rock solid, guys. I don't know if you guys can tell my loops are loops, but that's definitely a loop. It's not the helicopter controlling it, it's me controlling it, which is always fun and super exciting. Freaks out my camera crew and wonderful wife, of course. So I'm probably about out of juice here. We'll do a reverse one there and then into safe, just to show you it can get you out of trouble really quick. Just about as quick as you can get into it. Okay, so our timer has not elapsed that I can tell, but it's got to be getting darn close here.
I would think so.
But our voltage is still showing about 25% here. So I'm going to go back into the full Acro mode. This is at 100%. Let's show you up and down. It'll do it all. Of course, you have to have a pilot who knows how to do it all, and that would not be necessarily me. As you can see, I chickened out almost immediately and went back into my protective, safe, enabled mode in normal. And boy, that thing is beautiful, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. And by the way, for the record, it is not calm out right now. I don't know if you guys can tell, but from the wind noise, but that windsock is really kicking.
Yep.
Okay, so I think we're gonna land. Okay, throttle hold is on. And as you can see from the telemetry, I don't know if you guys can see. I'll go into the shade.
There you go.
Everything looks totally solid right now. Minute 49 left?
Well, it's not a 1 out, so I guess that's just so different.
No, it's past.
Oh.
So that means that we've flown for 5 full minutes of throttle on and 1 minute and 50 past the timer. So that's pretty good flight time on a 450 milliamp battery. So what I think we're gonna do is we'll go ahead and leave you guys there. If you wanna help support the channel, buy one of these InFusion 180 Helis. Check the link in the video description below. That's how you can really help to support us. And just to give you an idea of the size, how big that is really pretty. And I really like this helicopter. It flies just about as good as its big brothers and sisters. Real happy with this thing. I do feel like it would definitely be something you could fly inside if you wanted, if you had a big enough area. And you could do tricks and stuff inside too if you were good enough. Now that being said, I must say, I don't like using the 450. I'd like to use the 850. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna try that. Even though the 450 is a 50C battery, I wanna see if it'll do it. So you guys have already seen it. We'll put it at the beginning. But basically at this point, we're gonna jump inside, switch batteries, and we're gonna start the video. So you will have already seen the 850 milliamp hour in there and how the helicopter handles the extra weight. But 2 thumbs up, and definitely like this from Blade, the InFusion 180. Check the link in the video description below. Get one for yourself. NX8, this is a bind and fly helicopter. You could get one for your very own, just follow the link. If you don't wanna buy that thing, you wanna buy something else, we have tons of other stuff down below, and check out brianphillipsrc.com to see what else is going on. And you can definitely help support us with Patreon and PayPal down below. So thanks for watching. So much more to come here on Brian Phillips RC. I can hardly contain it because we literally have an entire room full of things to do.